Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to do an According To Us advice episode. I think it's been a couple months at least.
Oh yeah.
Since we've done one. If you guys ever want to participate in an advice episode, we always ask people that follow us on Instagram to send in some advice. And so our Instagram is at According To, all letters, no numbers, if you want to partake in that.
So we'll obviously get around to that a little bit later. We always like to start off with catch-up, reading updates, anything else we want to fill you guys in on just to give you guys the 411. So we'll start by doing that.
What's your spotlight for this week?
Let's see, my weekly spotlight. Unless I'm forgetting something obvious, I will say we started a fun new docuseries on Hulu. We started watching... It's
called Thank You and Good Night.
Thank You and Good Night.
The Bon Jovi story.
Yeah.
Megan never remembers what anything is called ever.
I was going to say, like, it's about Bon Jovi. I don't remember what it's called. I thought it was, like, they had mentioned, like, part of what he was saying was, like, only say...
Never say goodbye.
Goodnight.
Say good night. Yeah. Megan doesn't know what she's talking about at all.
So I was going to say, like, goodbye, not... or good night, not goodbye, or something. But it's what Ciera called it. So... I don't know how many episodes it is. We're not done with it yet.
But they're long episodes. They're like an hour and 15 to an hour and a half like, per episode.
It's 4 movies, basically. I like Bon Jovi enough in the sense that, like, it's
we have a dad.
Classic 80s music, and our dad likes classic 80s music, and therefore, you know, I have heard, you know, a fair number of their songs, and I do enjoy, like, I like good 80s.
We live in a society, and so therefore, like, you just know Bon Jovi to a certain extent.
And so it's been fun. I mean, I love a good docuseries about anything. Like, if it's done well and it's interesting, I'm ready to learn about anything. And so Ciera and I, now that we have, like, our whole movie room basement complete, go check out our final episode if you haven't watched it on our YouTube channel. We've been trying to get down there more consistently, like, using it on nights when we're not doing anything else. And so that's been meaning, like, we need to, like, find something to watch down there. And so
because upstairs is like we sit down, half the time it's just like a little YouTube like ambiance background
or maybe
thing.
We're reading, which, like, fair enough.
So, like, when we go in the basement, we're like, okay, what are we watching?
Yeah. So that's how we watched Unlocked a little bit, which is like that one new prison experiment reality show thing. We kind of stopped watching that. It was fine. Who's to say I won't go back and keep watching it, but we put a little pause on that, and this is more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically just talking about how Bon Jovi got started, you know, the progression of his career in the band altogether, and they're also, like, prepping for a 40th anniversary type of tour. So it's like they're going and doing these flashbacks, and it's got old clips, and they're talking about all of that, but it's also them, you know, present day training and rehearsing for the concerts they're doing now.
It's honestly, I don't know if you felt like this watching it, but, like, it's almost made me feel, like, existential in a way, like, when I'm watching it, just because, like, it's flipping back and forth between, like, you know, the past and the 80s, the band's getting started, and there's, like, so much footage from that time, obviously, that, like, you can see Bon Jovi and his bandmates when they're, you know, in their 20s, talking to the camera, doing these interviews, and then it jumps to him now, and he's, like, 60, and, like, him just talking about, he's like, you know, we're not what we used to be in the sense of, like, physically it's a more demanding job, just, like, trying to keep up with the show he was able to put on when he was younger compared to, like, what he's capable of doing now, wanting to be able to, like, live up to the hype and, like, maintain this certain level without, like, he always talks about, he wants to maintain his legacy. He knows he's not going to get bigger than what he is, but he doesn't want to, like, ride it too long where he, like, plummets a little bit, and they're like, ooh, Bon Jovi should have, like, stopped before he got to where he was.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I feel existential watching it, but
it's just, like, it's so wild because I'm just like, wow.
I think, like, when it does the flashbacks, it's interesting to be like, that's the same person. Like,
right?
Him then and him now, that's the same person. It's also interesting. He made a comment, like, in one of the first episodes about, like, not wanting to be, like, a fat Elvis because, like, arguably most people would agree Elvis didn't really, like, leave, like, at the height of his legacy, and he just, like, kept performing until he was not able to anymore. And so, like, when he made that comment, I was kind of like, haha, funny. You and I love the Elvis movie. We kind of, like, became Elvis what's the word I'm looking for? We became more engrossed
Stands.
in Elvis and his music and all of that.
This poster behind Megan. My dog's
after
name
the
is
movie
Vegas.
came out. And so I kind of was like, oh, he doesn't think fondly of Elvis. Like, it was like a 2-second comment. I was like, whatever. Then, where we had just finished off, he started bringing up the Elvis movie, and then it starts showing clips of like the Elvis movie in the docuseries. And
Well, it's funny because he's like, "Did you guys see the Elvis movie?" And he's like, "I love the Elvis movie."
I love the Elvis movie. So Bon Jovi's like just talking about how he not only does he know some of these people, like he's physically met and like some of the people it's talking about in the movie, but he's also like talking about from a musician standpoint, like he sees a lot of himself in Elvis and just like what that experience was. And it was just like really interesting and cool because I'm like, whoa, not like my worlds are colliding because like Bon Jovi is not one of my worlds, but like I love Elvis and I love the Elvis movie. So hearing him talk about it in that way and having such fond thoughts, I was like, okay, so if Bon Jovi loves the movie Elvis, clearly I'm in the right.
Yeah. It's also been fun. Like, obviously,
It makes me think I should rewatch Elvis again.
one of like
It's
the
been a
fun
while.
things for the documentary, and this is probably the nature of any docu-series or documentary about a band that you like know kind of what to expect a little bit. It's like they're like, and blah blah blah, we had this little number that came out and it was called Runaway. Like, just like you're like, oh my god, it feels like when the in the book, like this has the title of the book and you're like, oh my god. And you're like, yeah, we had this next album called Slippery When Wet that came out, and like it was Living on a Prayer, You Give Love a Bad Name, like just their top hits. And it's like also something that I thought was cool was just there was a moment in the most recent episode that we watched. We're like not giving it away, but like you guys should really go watch this. It's so good.
It's real life. It's not. It's not.
But just like he's sitting with his producer, like listening to one of the first recordings of I think Living on a Prayer, and he's like, "Wow, like little like we didn't know that moment that we were in, like when we were making that." To like now he's 60 years old. He knows like the impact that song has had. It's just so cool to like be like, "Wow, these guys that we're listening to had no idea."
One thing about me, I haven't become like obsessed with Bon Jovi since watching this docu-series.
I feel like I'm like gonna go on like a little Bon Jovi kick at some point, like when we finish.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it ends up on the repeat or shuffle of my playlist on Spotify.
They have a lot of albums though, so I probably won't go through all of them.
It was also I tend to be that kind of person though. Like I will hyperfixate. Like there's been discussion of like eventually a Michael Jackson documentary being not documentary. A biopic being made, and I know myself and I know if it's well done, which I like Michael Jackson songs anyways, but like if that's an incredible biopic on top of that, I will be having a Michael Jackson era when that movie comes out.
She is warning us now.
I just know it. Yeah, so that was a good one. What's your weekly spotlight?
My spotlight is that I'm doing pretty well on not biting my nails. They're like all of my nails, you can see the whites on all of them. And I got this like Sally Hansen Miracle Nail Growth thing. So I was originally using an oil, but it's like basically empty. And my mom gave it to me forever ago. And I thought to myself, I need to get something to just like help harden them, or just like at the very least, this like has a shine to my nails where it's like if I'm going to like go bite my nails, the shine picks up and I'm like, wait, like don't bite my nails. Like, you know what I mean? It's also like that visual reminder. The good thing is like once they get long enough where there's no like jagged edges or anything, it's easier for me to not bite them because there's like quote unquote in my head I'm like, well, I'm fixing it by biting it to adjust it. So hopefully I'm like I act like I'm cured, every time I do this. It's happened time and time again. But we're on a good streak right now.
I need to tell you guys about the beginning of my weekend because I was sick.
She got what I think I had a couple weeks ago.
I think there's a stomach bug going around, and it was going around one of the buildings that I work at, and it got me. It got my coworkers. I found out one of them went home on Friday. Like one called in sick, and then one went home, and then I'm not usually at that building on Friday. I'm usually at a different building, and I woke up on Friday like not feeling like I just felt like off. And usually I go wake up and work out Friday morning. But I kind of felt just weird, and I couldn't really figure out why. So I was like, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm just going to like sleep a little bit more. Hopefully I feel better. And I've never had to call in sick to work. So I was like, I really don't want to call in sick or not go in if I don't have to. And then I slept in. I woke up and I was like, I think I'm feeling like fine. at least like I can go to work and like it'll be fine. So I did go to work that day. As I'm finishing up, like towards the end of the day, I was getting done with my day around like 3:30. I was like, I need to go home. Like I am not feeling well. So I decided, I was like, when I get home, I don't care what Vegas needs from me. I will let him out. And then like I am laying in bed and going to try and take a nap. Luckily, Ciera got home not too much later after I did. But I was like, I need to sleep right now. Like I'm not feeling good. And so I slept for like 2 hours, and then it was like 6:30 when I woke up, and I wasn't feeling great, but I felt at least like a little less tired. And I was like, okay, I need to think about what I want for dinner because I know I need to like eat something, but nothing really sounded good. So I ordered some Panera, and it was delivered. I ordered some chicken noodle soup, and then eventually I'm like, this is also like it was storming, and like there was a bunch of tornado warnings and stuff going on Friday. Nowhere like near the Des Moines metro really got hit.
Pleasant Hill did.
Did they?
Yeah, there's some pretty good damage over there.
I take that back. Anyways, besides the point. So I come downstairs, and like walking down the flight of stairs was like, oh my God. That was enough to like, but I was kind of like, I was upstairs, and like knowing that we were about to like have likely a bunch of tornado warnings and stuff, I was like, I need to like get myself in the basement just to like be down there.
Hunker down there.
And so I was like, okay, I need to pick up my Panera from the door. I pick it up. I immediately put it in the fridge because I'm like, I am not eating this right now. It did not sound good. And I was starting to feel really not good. So I continue just going straight into the basement. We have our new half bathroom all freshened up in the basement. I have my trash can from my upstairs bathroom with me because I'm like, I really think I'm not feeling well. So when I get to the bathroom, I vomit, throw up. I don't know the least gross way to say that, but I was like, okay, at least I felt better after that. And I think going down the second flight of stairs also like didn't help me. So I'm down there. After that, I felt considerably better, but I still just like, when you're sick, like you just have like, you're not comfortable, you're aching, you're not feeling great. So Ciera's like outside in like the basement area, and I'm like in the half bathroom just like on the floor. And we're both just watching like the little live tracker thing on our phones to like see the updates of what's going on. And eventually then nothing really happens, that there's no warnings really in our area. So we both go back upstairs. I'm feeling like better, I would say. And then I walk 2 flights upstairs to my room, and then I'm not okay again, and I get sick again. But it was just those 2 times, and then I was better, and then I slept well, and then the next day I was mostly just like a little fatigued, but I felt pretty much back to normal, which was good. So that was not fun.
Just a weird like 24-hour bug going around, I guess.
Yeah. So, and Ciera, like before, because she had that like 3 weeks ago maybe.
Probably 2 weeks ago.
And it's just going around, I guess.
I mean, I wonder, our mom also said like when I had gotten sick, she was like, oh, someone at my work just got sick with like something similar. So I truly don't know if it's like just generally going around, or like we both work in like long-term care, like nursing home settings. Like, so I don't know. Yeah. I think I caught it at work too, because I had found out some people like that were also kind of sick at my work. So I don't know. But at least now we've both gotten it and recovered.
The good thing is like it was quick. So yeah, at least there's that.
And I tried to give
talking like, would you rather have something like stomachy like that where you're sick, or would you rather have something like respiratory? And we both came to the conclusion we would rather have like stomach bug, just because.
Which is weird because I think in the past I would have said something different. I think I would have.
I kind of feel like I've always been like team stomach bug. If
you had to pick one.
Just because of like how quick it is, and like I've realized every time I get something respiratory and like I'm plugged up,
sore throat, stuffy nose, I'm gone.
I'm so unwell at that time, so I'd rather have a stomach bug.
I think I would agree too. It's been so long since I've had a stomach bug. Like I think since high school, I haven't thrown up like since high school.
I think same until Friday.
Streak is over. And I was like, since I had gotten it before Megan, I was like trying to give her like my tips. I was like, just take the Tylenol. For whatever reason, I'm not anti-medication at all. But like for whatever reason, I'm like, I don't need Tylenol. Like,
yeah, or
most
like when
of the time.
like Tylenol or ibuprofen. I've been getting like better about just being like, just take
like,
it. You will feel better.
I get a headache and I'm like, I don't need anything right now. Like, it's fine. It'll go away. I'm just like, just take it. It will feel better.
And it does.
And it does. So I was like, Megan, if you're probably going to get body aches, just take the Tylenol now. That was really the only thing I told you. Otherwise, I was just trying to like commiserate with you of like, was your heart racing when you had to move like 2 steps? Because mine was when I was sick.
Yeah.
So, not so much a fun update for that one.
No.
Book update time. I finished reading, what was my last book? Oh, I finished reading Scythe. I gave it 4 stars. Our book club is next weekend.
Yes. You got my text, but you didn't respond, did you?
Oh, we can come up with book club stuff.
I was like, since it's a week away, we feel like we need to like get it done to then also like kind of remind people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
what's my hair doing? I'm trying to fix my part if you're not watching the video.
It's not working. It looks fine.
Okay.
Just don't mess with it. I think if we send it now to be like, okay, like 1 week out, you guys like figure out.
We
your
try and do like
reading
a
if
week
you're
warning.
not about to be done with your book.
You gotta spark notes it. If you're not gonna finish it, we need something.
So I have finished reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It gave me like everything I feel like I was wanting in a romantasy. Like it has all of the key things.
If you are
that
like looking for a romantasy and you've already read ACOTAR, you read Fourth Wing. I honestly haven't read like that many, but
I feel like so the premise is the main female character.
Isn't it weird they call her a serpent?
Just like because
she bites people. That's anyway.
The main female character. What's her name? As soon as I'm done with the book, I don't know their name anymore.
The guy's name is Rain. I don't know the girl's name is Oraya, right?
Yeah, Oraya.
Wow,
okay.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. So she's a human, but when she was younger, she was like taken in by the king of, I want to say the Night Court, but that's not right. But it's like something night. It's related to the night. Anyways, and so she's grown up like the past 17 years of her life in like the vampire realm. There's like different kinds of vampires. I don't really know all the specifics. You don't need to know the specifics.
It sounds ridiculous describing any single fantasy book, but just
and then the main. So there's these different trials. Is that what they're called in this book too?
I don't remember.
It's called the Kajari.
Yes.
And there are different phases of like trials that they have to go through, and it's like kind of the same thing as the Hunger Games. And also, if you've read Powerless, they kind of have the same thing there. It's like an homage to their history and like the goddesses that they worship.
And like you get a wish,
and when you win it, you get a wish from the goddess of Nyaxia, which is like their goddess. And so, I think you just like sign up to be in it. Is
right?
Like how it sounds. So okay, and for one of the trials, you like need a designated alliance. And so in the beginning, her and like the main male character, and he's like a vampire, and most of the other people, like they're not all vampires, but like I don't know the specifics. Don't ask me. He thinks they should team up along with like he has another close friend. They're like, we should all 3 be working together. And she doesn't really have like a better option, so she's like, okay, sure. And like they all know that like at the end of the day, like only one is supposed to win, and like they all are gonna die.
But like not everyone has to die, right?
Everyone that's still in the trial has to die.
Oh
yes,
I don't remember. The different books have different rules, so it's hard for me to keep them
Everyone
straight.
does need to die. That's how you win. And so, I mean, that's the book basically. But it had good romance that I liked. It had good banter. The thing that reminded me of like ACOTAR from this book is because like, I mean, obviously they're both fantasy and they have like different powers and stuff. But I feel like specifically like there was banter in lines where I was like, this is something like, this is so like Reese would say this, or
so ACOTAR.
So like there was like something that like Azrael basically says like the exact same thing in one of the ACOTAR books. And so if you like the banter in ACOTAR, I felt like it kind of felt similar in this book. And then Powerless wise, like it reminded me of that because of like the trials and whatnot. And then Hunger Games because like they're the OG trials type of thing. So it was good. I'd recommend. I did still just give it 4 stars because like it didn't feel like a 5 star. So like what can I do about that? And then
what do you think of the ending? It's pretty crazy, right?
The ending was pretty crazy. So I'm excited to continue the series. I haven't added it to my, actually, yes, I have.
Yes, you did.
I have added it. No, I'm saying like my never ending now, like 16 book list.
You don't know when you're going to get to it, but it's.
I actually do think I had it on there, but it's like, it is down a ways.
Okay. I don't even know when I'm going to read the series or the sequel. I think the next book, there's a third book coming out in like January. So it's like, you don't have to read it like right away if you want to spread them out a little bit.
So then I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. It came out last week. And Emily Henry, like, she really can do no wrong. But this was not like a new top tier book of hers. Out of all her books that she's released that I've read, which is like most of them, I have given 5 stars to Beach Read and Happy Place. And those two, like, I really don't know which one I like more because I love them both so much. And I've reread Beach Read and it was still like held up as a 5-star. I've read Book Lovers twice. That one's like, I gave it a 4.5 the first time I read it. I feel like the second time I read it, I was kind of like, maybe this, I don't know if I would still give it 4.5. Maybe it'd just be like a 5 or a 4-star. And then People We Meet on Vacation is like easily my least favorite book of hers. I still give it 4 stars. And then this one I was like kind of torn. I was like, do I like this one better than Book Lovers or not? It's kind of what I was trying to figure out. Because initially I was thinking yes. But then by the time I finished it, I feel like no.
Okay.
So I do think, unfortunately, this is probably like my second to last in terms of like my favorite book of hers.
You know what's
still
funny
gave it
though?
4 stars.
That
it was still a good book.
What you're doing
a lot
reminds
of people
me of
think this is like her best book.
How you're like doing that, like her lowest is still amazing. I've seen like so many people ranking like Taylor Swift albums and just like talking in comments of like, it's funny how they're like, well, what's like, they're like, debut is my least favorite. They're like, well, what's debut doing all the way down there? Like, she's good.
Yeah.
You know, a low has to be somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I read it quickly. I enjoyed reading it. I just don't know if I'm going to like think about it. It's Emily Henry. So like inevitably, like I'm going to remember her books better than some other books I read where it's just like a one-off author. But like I will word it in the way that like I would be, Ciera's given like all Emily Henry books except for People Meet on Vacation 5 stars.
Yeah.
I don't foresee this one being a 5-star for you, unfortunately. Okay. But like that's just kind of my gauge. I think it'll be an enjoyable book. Maybe you'll think otherwise, but
yeah, I think I'm gonna read it after I finish the book that I'm reading Assassin's Blade. I don't know when I'm getting to it.
And now I just started. My book update. Oh, I'm not done with mine either.
Okay, finish yours.
I am like 10 pages into Remarkably Bright Creatures. I've decided is what I'm reading next. I was debating between, I was gonna read Assassin's Blade per my reading order list, but apparently so is Ciera, and she's like, no, trust me, I'm going to get to it before you do. And she hasn't. I finished.
Well, I didn't know you were gonna get it off of work half a day early.
So I only had 50 minutes left of my book today. How much do you have left of your book?
2 hours.
Anyways, yesterday I was like, I know I'm gonna finish before you, but like I will let you read Assassin's Blade first. So I was like, do I want to read Remarkably Bright Creatures or Ruthless Vows? And I just picked the shorter book. So that's what I'm reading. I'm honestly like, I'm only 10 pages in, but I feel like I can already tell I'm really enjoying the writing of it, which is good.
You're usually not like a writing kind of person.
No. So we'll see.
Like Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is definitely like, of any book I've ever read, that's like the one I think of when I think of like the writing that I liked.
This is within like literally the first 2 pages of the book. So it's not like a spoiler. I was just like, oh, like, ouch. But it starts off with like a little, it's like day 1299 in captivity. And it's like from one of the main characters is an octopus. No. And so it's like from his perspective. And he's like saying day 1299 in captivity. And he's like saying stuff. And then like the last sentence is like, the average lifespan of an octopus is only like 1,400 something days. So only 160 days left in captivity. And I was like, oh my God.
That's sad.
So now I'm like, I feel like I know this octopus is going to die by the end of the book. So that's going to be sad.
Yeah, I hope not.
Anyways.
He's optimistic, though. Sounds like.
Okay. Now you can do your book update.
I already told you guys I finished Scythe. I'm currently reading Killer Instinct. It's the second book in the Natural series. And I just needed like a quick palate cleanser almost because Scythe was good, but it took me a while to get through in the sense that like there'd be nights where it's like, I don't really feel like reading.
Have we talked about like, I did go off on like a little tangent of like when I was reading, I was just like, it could be so much better.
Yes, you did.
Not that it's bad.
I think the ending was good. Hopefully like I could see book 2 being set up for a little bit more romance. I'm just saying.
It all depends on how Neil wants to take it.
This is the same author that wrote Unwind. I don't know if any of you guys like were younger and in middle school the same time as me, but I read Unwind in middle school, and so I was like, whoa, my worlds are colliding. Anyway, So I feel like I will read the second book at some point. Just based off the ending, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. But yeah, I just feel like we need a little bit more romance. And like
especially because like he was
there.
including it, but like it almost like it was being included in a way that
I was like, Neil,
sense.
you didn't lay the groundwork for this. You're just saying it's here and it's not. Anyway, so then I wanted to get like a quick book in. One, because I'm like, it's almost the end of April. I'm not gonna be able to get 5 books done, but if I get this book done,
6 books in,
then I'll get 4 books done. So whatever. So then I'm going to read Assassin's Blade. So I'll have started Throne of Glass. And I'm reading it first. I don't know.
I know. I'm like, I kind of feel like, because I've had it on my TBR, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, but like, I feel like I keep pushing it off because like I'm never going to feel ready to read it because I'm always going to be like, it's going to be daunting. That's not going to change. It's going to have high expectations because just like inevitably it will.
I feel honestly have to start conflicted because like I really do not know what it is about, like almost at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like keep my expectations low because I'm like, I don't know what it's about. Like, so hopefully I keep myself tempered. And then if it's amazing, then I can just be really excited. If it's just good, then I can be like, okay, just keep going. And I hope I don't think it's bad. Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
Okay. Book updates are done. Anything else we need to catch you guys up on?
Megan sprayed the dandelions after our rant last week.
I never thought I'd be the person looking up YouTube videos on like lawn care and yard work, yet here I am. I went and like found, I don't know how like the proper way to say this, but like the magic ingredient from what I was finding and what the YouTube videos were telling me was like we needed to get 2,4-D, which is like a shorthand name for like some longer name. And that needs to be like a main active ingredient. So that's what I got. I needed to borrow a freaking pump tank from my dad to mix it with water. And I had to math out the little proportions. And, you know, I hope for the best.
You just talking about that gave me flashbacks to the intro to like biology when we had to do those titrations or whatever.
Oh my God.
And like that was so much harder for me than it needed to be. It was kind of insane.
Yeah.
But we're past that. Last update that I wanted to talk about, or not update, but seeing as the Tortured Poets Department's been out for like what, 2 weeks now? Week and a half. I wanted to give like some more solid thoughts about our songs on repeat. We've probably listened to a lot of them more. So I will give my quick rundown of like when this comes on, or like I want to make sure I play it in the car. For me, that includes The Bolter. So High School is still there. The Albatross, The Black Dog, I Can Do With Broken Heart, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, Guilty of Sin, Down Bad, and My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Those are like my tops right now.
I feel like you didn't say it, but Daddy, I Love Him, did you?
No.
I will also add that one in. And then, did you say The Black Dog? I wasn't listening to what you said.
I don't even remember if I said it. I don't think I did.
How Did It End is one of my new top ones, as well as like The Bolter. Ciera kind of made me like re-listen to it, and like it's also one of my new top ones. And then I'll just say like a lot of the same ones that Ciera said are also ones I've been listening to on repeat. It really, I know everyone's been saying this, and we said it originally too, but it's like it really is.
It grows on you.
It grows. And it's insane because like the Billboard stuff today just came out, and the top 14 songs are Taylor Swift songs. All 31 songs are on the Hot 100. That is insane.
You know the song that I like don't listen to at all? Robin and Peter. I'm like, what is that? Cassandra I also don't listen
to. Thank You, Amy. Like I did listen to, but like
I just don't really like it that much.
Yeah, it's not really my favorite. The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I know a lot of people love it. I skip that one. Not really my favorite. Same with Mamo. And Lost My Life. And then I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can't. I skip that one too. Okay, let's figure out what you guys want advice on.
Do you want to start at the top, or do you want to start at the bottom? Did you want to start in the DMs and I'll start in the stories? How do you want to do this?
I'll start in the stories and you can start in the DMs.
Sounds good.
And then we'll see where we mix in. You can start because I'm trying to get this open.
Someone said, I've been struggling with career paths. I always wanted to be a teacher, and now 2 years in, I've realized teaching isn't for me long term. Now I have to figure out what else there is, or what else is out there for me. Any advice would be helpful.
I honestly see, I'm in a group on Facebook called Fun on Weekdays, and I've honestly seen quite a few posts of people posing the same question and or people sharing their experiences of different career paths they've tried out or gone into. Some people also will kind of like, I don't know how long, does it say how long she's been teaching? 2 years? Okay. Because some people will try to like be encouraging and say like, after my first or second year, like I really wasn't sure, but then like you kind of actually start to get your footing after that, and then like it's better. Or some people say like it's purely like a management thing, and like if you go to a different school, everything could be so much better. So I feel like honestly I would go to one of these Facebook groups and like try to search up posts like that, because then like you're going to have a lot more specific advice to your situation, people who have been through something similar, what career path specifically they transitioned to that maybe worked well, things like that.
Yeah, I would agree with Megan. If you want more specific, like, you know, neither of us have ever been teachers. We don't know, like, good alternate career paths, like, with the experience that you've had. But, like, in general, like, I know people can, like, switch to, like, administrative type work from teaching. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I like Megan's idea more of, like, seeing.
I've seen, like, quite a few posts of, like, teaching specifically, so I feel like you'd find better luck. If not in Fun on Weekdays, like, you could try other Facebook groups,
There's
too.
got to be, like, a teachers to other career path Facebook group.
Okay, someone wants advice on feeling lonely when not having the biggest friend group.
Feeling lonely when not having the biggest friend group. I do feel like the size of your friend group does not or should not dictate like how lonely or not lonely you feel. There could be people that have like a group of like 10 friends and still feel lonely, and there can be people who have like one friend they hang out with and like they never feel lonely. So I wouldn't connect the size of the group of the people you hang out with like how you're feeling. I would just like analyze the relationships of those people like within the group and say like, A, are these the people that like I want to be close with and like I desire to be close with, and how can I work on cultivating that relationship specifically? Or like, should I look elsewhere for those friendships that are going to like prioritize me and make me feel less lonely?
Like the thing that's going to make you feel less lonely is if you have deeper connections with people that you feel like you genuinely know them and they genuinely know you. And sometimes, you know, if you have like 10 acquaintances, that's different than having 2 really close friends. So if you have people that like you know well and like they're good solid acquaintances, and you feel like you just need to like dig a little bit deeper and like do some more groundwork, try to invest a little bit more in like the communication you have with them day to day, or like being the one to make plans, or you know, different things like
or
that.
Like if there's anything, if you feel like you need to like deepen your connection, just like, you know, asking like whether it's like work, family stuff, just like if you know they're like struggling in certain areas, like checking in on them and like showing that you care about them so that they know like how to reciprocate that back to you. I feel like that's a good way to just like, again, further and deepen those bonds.
Yeah. I also feel like if you're comfortable, like, not that you can't be lonely, like even if you're perfectly comfortable with like yourself, but I feel like if there's any like self-growth that you want to work on or that you feel like can happen with yourself, that could also be something that would maybe help you feel like less lonely, because then you're more comfortable like with your alone time.
The one that I'm just like getting ready to read makes me laugh.
So best of luck with that.
Okay. So this girl, I don't know how old she is. She's in at least like, I mean, max in high school, otherwise like middle school or something. I don't know. She said, there's 2 guys. One is in my grade. I work with him and he's really nice, but he doesn't seem too interested. The other one is a year younger than me, and my sister's dating his brother. We both really like each other. Who should I pick? The way that she worded that is so funny. Who do I pick?
Whichever one.
Well,
is
the
maybe
first
more
one
interested in you.
doesn't seem interested in you. So is he even an option?
Doesn't seem like it.
And you like the second guy and he likes you. So I would just say go with that one.
Yeah.
Why make it hard on yourself? She's like, A, older guy who doesn't like me and I don't know if I like him. Or B, guy who I like him and he likes me. What's the issue? And your sister is
Option
already
B.
dating his brother. So you guys
could
can be
like,
related.
yeah,
Again.
if you want that.
Double family.
Okay. This one says, update on your relationship status and what efforts you guys are trying to find someone.
That's not advice. That's a question.
I know, but I figured we would answer anyways.
We're nearing the end of the month. And you know what I said?
I
already told you. I told everyone.
Oh.
I said I was going to hopefully have gone on a date or why am I doing these two
forgot
fingers?
you said that.
Well,
I wasn't
nothing
holding you
report.
to it.
I haven't held myself to it because there's nothing to report. I have no updates.
We are still
We're going to a baseball game tomorrow. That is the last day of the month.
Okay. Yes. We're both still off Hinge, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And there's a TikTok that I saw that has inspired me, but I can't say it's drawn me to do anything because I haven't done anything. And it like blew up on TikTok. It was that girl who gave the guy in Target her number because she thought he was cute.
Was that fake?
I don't know.
Did we determine if that was fake?
I don't know.
Okay.
If it was, that sucks. But either way, the sentiment is maybe it's not there if it's fake. But that happened, and everyone in the comments was just like, is it really that easy? And as much as I would love to, have the guy come up to me, have the guy make the first move, I am not above, like, making the first move. I just feel like I would really have to work up the confidence to do that. And also, like, I don't know, I'm just like, maybe I really do just need to, like, have my phone number on me. And, like, if I see a cute guy, I have not seen
paper airplane.
I have not seen a cute enough guy that I would genuinely do this to. And also, like, I don't go any places. So, because, like, at the gym, I wouldn't do that because I feel like
that's their safe space,
That's
it's
a
my
safe space. If we're going to run into each other again,
that's why we got to switch gyms.
Risky.
We got to decide when we're switching gyms. And then,
say,
like, that last week, go haywire.
Here's my number. Here's my number. Here's my number.
I'm leaving this location. Hello. Goodbye.
So, like, if I ever do that, I will let you guys know. But, because I'm kind of like, it really isn't. Like, the stakes are so low. There are no stakes.
Like, you leave
there
and
are
then
no
you're like,
stakes.
oh.
That's it. What, they don't text me? Okay, they weren't going to text me anyways. So I've been just trying to be like, it's not that hard if...
Like, it is. The mental roadblock.
I know. But it's also
huge.
like, she was in a situation, if real, where she's like, oh, that guy's cute. Like, she freaking went to, like, ask a cash register person for a pen. Just so she could, like, hand it to him and run away. Because, like, that's the least mortifying, maybe.
I was going to say something.
If we're at the baseball game tomorrow, like,
you got to have pen and paper ready.
Pen and paper ready. And then here's this. I don't even know what you say. I'd have to go back and, like, watch her video and be like, what do you say?
Yeah. Or you just need to, like, find a guy to take a picture of us. If you find someone, like, attractive. You know what I mean?
Even, I know that's the easiest thing you could probably do, but, like, even that seems mortifying to me. But you're right. We should do that.
Update to that.
If a picture posted on my Instagram.
Like, I wonder.
Anyways.
You guys comment, I wonder who took this. It's like an old man. We just, like, asked to take a picture. Gosh, I was going to say something. Oh, I do remember. I also have thought, I am not above DMing someone.
No.
I actually have forever ago DM'd someone.
This seems like the best way, but, like, I don't know how to find cute guys who are local to me. local to the area.
What have we said? Is that included in our little, like, single?
No, it's age appropriate attractive men.
Oh,
and then also local.
Add that in.
Preferably.
Like,
not a deal breaker.
Genuinely don't know how I would go about finding someone.
I've tried being creative and like
really
with mutuals or like I just am like I'm just trying to like tell myself there are cute guys
but then the issue,
my age around me.
I've never like found someone like that I'm like, I need to like DM them.
Do you see
like,
Bumble's like
see.
trying to like do this whole rebrand?
I know they're doing a rebrand. I don't know what yet. It comes
I
out
don't either.
tomorrow, I think.
But I'm kind of like, how do you rebrand dating apps
Right?
like that significantly? To be honest, I think the answer to all of our problems of like this modern day dating catastrophe that is dating apps, and I don't know how you make this into a dating app. The solution is dating apps. But I'm just like,
the solution to dating apps is another dating app.
people used to set up friends. People used to like set people up with people they know because they're like, oh, you guys would go well together. You guys, that doesn't happen anymore.
You need to.
So how do you make a date? I thought for 2 seconds. I was like, how does one put that into a dating app? I hope that's what Bumble's doing.
You know what we should do?
We're going to make an app?
No. Facebook dating honestly could be this. I don't know. But like Instagram, Facebook needs to put dating stuff on Instagram. Like, you know how they have Facebook dating? They need like the younger audience. Like, you could totally do something. I don't know what they would do, but like on Instagram, if you're like put like your relationship status, like whatever. I don't know how this would work, but I just feel like there's something you could do with like everyone already follows certain people.
Maybe.
I don't know what it would be, but I feel like it could be something.
Maybe. I feel like Instagram is like so close to like the barrier to entry is like little to none. If you find someone you think is cute on Instagram, like you can follow and message or whatever, and the stakes
like,
are so
do it
low.
yourself.
So like
I do wonder, like having an elevated follower count that's going down every day,
but right now it's like still quite high.
I wouldn't feel like I would let that hold me back from DMing someone, but I feel like it'd be like very strange to like.
I'm kind of like, if they wanted to ask about it, they'll ask,
But like I also like I would hope that it wouldn't like make them more interested for like oh like this is like a famous person, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna respond.
Mm-hmm.
Like respond because you're interested. Anyway, I have not DM'd someone in years for the purpose of going on a date.
Anyways, so that was the answer to your question, and I hope that was
and a tangent from us. Okay. I think I need to go to the story post. So if you have another one.
Oh gosh, I keep forgetting how I.
Are you going at the top or the bottom?
I'm on the bottom.
Let me go to the top. Wrong story.
It's okay. Is it my turn?
It's my turn. Someone said, I'm going to graduate soon and would like to know what the workforce transition is like. Love you. I'm assuming you mean graduate from college if you're going to the workforce. I mean, the transition for us is different because we went from college to grad school, and then grad school was a relatively seamless transition in the sense we had like clinicals and then work. So we were kind of like neatly transitioned, I would say.
I think the hardest transition that like is coming, but that like just takes the most adjusting to get used to is you inevitably have a lot more flexibility with your schedule in college, or like at the very least, even if it's not like flexible in terms of like free time you have, every day is different. Or at least like, maybe this class you have a longer morning one day, maybe you have classes later one day, maybe you have a club this day of the week, maybe, you and your friends are going and doing this one night. You're surrounded by a lot of people your age, usually in a college town if you're kind of having like the typical college experience. So like all of that is so variable, and you're just surrounded in an atmosphere with like a lot of different things going on and things to do. And then you transition to a more routine, every day kind of feels the same. And so I feel like you really need to make an effort when you're outside of graduating to like do something for yourself every day, like outside of work. Otherwise you're really going to be like, I'm quite literally living in a simulation. It can be little things. Ciera and I like to try and come up with like fun things to do. Obviously some days you get home and you're tired. Like it is what it is. Reading has been a great hobby for us. Like I'm a different person now as a reader than I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was not reading. And it's just like a fun little way to like escape daily life, like before bed or whenever else I have time to read. Like you need to find little things for yourself. It could be making sure your gym routine stays consistent if that's something you're doing. And then, making sure you're fitting that into your day before or after work. It could be if you have a pet, making sure you're playing with them, taking them on their walks, listening to like a podcast or audiobook that
it's like
suits your
romanticizing
fancy.
every other aspect of your life. I mean, some people romanticize their job too, so you could do that as well. I think that what is hard for a lot of people, like that I can relate to when you transition, is that you're like, okay, when you're in college, I guess you can like start when you're younger. When you're in middle school, okay, then I get to high school, then it's 4 years I get to high school and I'm in college. Okay, 4 years, then I graduate and you graduate college, and then you're like, oh, 40 years until retirement.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just doing this for 40 years or however long. And so I feel like you have to take a step back and say, it's not, 40 years until whatever. It's like, okay, 1 year at a time. What are my goals 1 year from now? And like, what do I want to work on within my career? And what do I want to work on outside of my career? And like, find ways to make life exciting in that sense, to like reach those small milestones.
The good news is, assuming now you're like working and getting paid, you're making money. You have more money to then like spend on or budget and, do things as you please that you maybe weren't able to do before. You get to kind of like make your own schedule. So before, a lot of times for school, like your breaks are kind of set in stone and at specific times. And like now, we get to pick what days we want to go on vacation or what days we need off and like things like that. You didn't really have that freedom before. If you're not a study person, like you don't have to study anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find.
And there are some people that
pros.
thrive like after they graduate college. Haley, our sister, she thrives like, in the working world more than she did in a school environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she would tell you that a million times over. So maybe that'll be you.
One moment, I closed out of my phone.
I can do another one. Self-care tips. I'm a freshman in college and struggle with self-care and in need of tips. I would say, since you're in freshman college, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum. We have someone leaving, someone just now entering. I would say self-care wise, for me, it's focusing on like what's important so it tends to be like, okay, how often do I want to work out?
I think a big one, especially like thinking of like freshman year of college, like sleep and like prioritizing like a good sleep schedule, because otherwise if you get in a bad habit of like staying up late, maybe like even if you want to have fun and go out in college, like that's fine.
Like even if you're stay up like studying too.
If you're sleeping in and like just not getting however much rest you need and that causes you to like sleep through classes, like you're not getting into a very good routine. You're not setting yourself up well. If you're missing lectures in person, then you're probably spending more time trying to make up for it by trying to figure out what you need to know for class outside of that. So then I feel like you're spending way more time like doing everything else. So I would say that would be a big one to prioritize is, try to figure out what time you need to go to bed, try to stick to it, try your best to create like a nice conducive environment to sleep in your dorm.
I feel like having like within, if you have a crazy college schedule or not, having at least one designated like staying in night, whether it's like, okay, it doesn't even have to be like going out is like what you're doing all the other days, but like one night where like I am finishing my stuff for the day, I'm going to my dorm and like staying in. Maybe I'll like take an everything shower. Maybe I'll like read for a little bit. Maybe I'll catch up on my favorite show. Like that is your designated, like, not like you could have a roommate and like do stuff with them or invite a friend over, but like that is like you just doing what you want to do to like
refilling your cup.
Yes.
Relax for a little bit. Otherwise, like what else self-care wise?
I don't know.
Sleep.
That's about it.
Find a healthy, active routine of
Drink
whatever
your water.
suits your
I say as I don't know the
fancy.
last time I drank water.
Okay. Someone said, workout newbie, how do you find the motivation to work out? This is not a new thing that people say. It's just something that's true. Discipline is easier than motivation. So, like, I've kind of ingrained it in my mind of, like, my standard for myself as, like, this is the rule. And, like, otherwise it's the exception to the rule. But, like, I just, like, since we graduated from gymnastics.
Oh, yeah.
Since we retired from gymnastics and finished gymnastics in high school, I've always known that like just being active and like our dad has been like a really prominent role model for Ciera and myself, because he's always been like an active
Like he's
person.
always like, it's gym day.
Like
Gotta go to the
he's
gym.
just always been consistent with that. And so like the gym was not a new concept to me. I kind of was like, okay, I foresee myself as being like someone who's going to get a gym membership and also go to the gym, like to stay active.
We have that behavior
And
modeled
so
to us.
it's always kind of been my expectation for myself is like going to the gym like 3 to 4 times a week. You know, some people it's more, some people it's less, whatever works for you. And some people it's like they don't want to go to a gym. You have to find what works for you, but just like that's what works for me. So that's my expectation. And so, okay, if that's my expectation, then where then in my daily schedule or where in my week do I want to fit it in? Do I want to do it before work? Do I want to do it after work? Do I want to do it on the weekdays? Do I want to do it on the weekend? Do I want to have all my workouts be at the gym? Do I want to like be active some other way? And I prefer if I like my designated like just pre-planned block of time is like my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. However, sometimes I get off work early one day and maybe the next morning I would have had like a workout day. And maybe I'm like, I'm a person. I know I like to sleep in. I don't like getting up to go work out in the morning, but I do it because I'm telling myself I need to. But if I can fit it in somewhere else, then I'll do that. And I'll say, okay, sweet, I don't have to get up tomorrow morning to go work out. So I feel like you kind of have to set your expectation for yourself and then fill in those pre-blocked times of like, this is my expected time unless under extenuating circumstances that's not going to work out. Not to say I never sleep in and just like miss a workout because I don't feel like it.
But like the difference is that like you don't let it be a barrier to like you continuing.
Then I'm usually like, when else can I fit it in? I'm like, okay, if I'm making this exception now, when do I plan on going instead? So that's kind of how I try to do it. And that's what works for me. And again, it's just one of those things where it's like, I just expect it from myself. And so that's how it happens. I'm not always like, I'm loving this. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to have a fun time.
To add on to that, if you, I think at the very least, start out with like what Megan was saying, a time commitment of like these days, this time, I am exercising. To what intensity, to what extent, to like whatever else, that is up to you. Perhaps that's up to how you're feeling that day. But just like from this time to this time, I am moving my body in some way, shape, or form. Megan and I have plenty of days where we say, it's a workout day, I'm going to the gym, I'm here, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do anything. Maybe we walk for, 30 minutes.
Maybe I say I'd rather be reading my book. And so that's what granted I was recovering from being sick, but I rode the bike for 30 minutes and read my book because it was better than nothing. So
like sometimes there are days where it's just like something is better than nothing. You'll get it better next time. Yes. That didn't make any sense. But like as long as you just mentally keep note of like, okay, if I've had a lot of workouts recently that have been kind of subpar, do I need to change something about what I'm doing? Like don't let it like
if it's other things that are like acting as barriers for you to do something, like maybe it is like actually getting yourself to go to a gym. Maybe that's a barrier and you're like, I can't even fathom like leaving my house to go do this. Then it's like, okay, maybe walking around in your neighborhood is a better option for you, or maybe doing like an at-home workout is a better option for you. You have to figure out like what barriers are you willing to overcome and what barriers are you not. Like for me, I'd much rather go to a gym to like get out of my house a little bit, have a lot more equipment to choose from, and I feel like I can like get a better workout in somewhere else compared to being at home. So like I'd prefer to just go somewhere. But some people are like, I'd much rather have like a little home gym setup.
Okay. Next question I see. Someone said, I'm thinking of becoming a PT. Thoughts on the career and tips to get there. Overall, I would say I'm very pleased with my career
is
choice.
one thing that I will say, like just being completely honest, that I don't think I thought about before, that I've thought about more now, seeing other people our age getting into other careers.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a lot of growth, or there is limited growth in physical therapy as a career. Like
That's
you are
true.
not able to jump around to different jobs to say, I'm looking for this pay increase. I've had this many years experience. I'm now wanting to get this much higher in pay. And then, like in other careers, you can do that. And then you can keep kind of expecting a continual increase in pay. And like, that's just not really going to happen in PT.
Really, the only thing you can do,
settings. You can travel, you can
become a manager or a director, but like your role changes obviously, and like whether or not you want to leave patient care and go more into like administrative that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like that would play a role.
And like there's certainly like if you're wanting to go the travel route, or if you're wanting to do a bunch of PRN gigs or whatever, like there certainly is still like good money to be made, but like it's just something I didn't think about before we went into physical therapy as a career. And I would say like now you can see like just other people like, oh wow, like you're just like jumping careers to a different thing and like asking for like, I just like am like, I could never dream of making that much of like a pay jump just by going to a different job, because it wouldn't happen. And so many healthcare jobs too are like, they really don't have a lot of give with what they're willing to pay either. Like they're kind of like, this is our company standard, this is what we'll pay for years of experience, and sorry, but we can't really do anything else.
I also know something to consider for people coming into the field or considering coming into the field. Like there is a barrier with the salary, or like the typical
and like the debt
salary
you have to go into.
and the debt you have to go into. Megan and I luckily like are fortunate enough to like not be in debt from school because of like past scholarships and like, you know, finances we had saved up partially from YouTube. Like we were in a very, you know, privileged position in that sense that like a lot of our classmates and like other people going to PT school didn't have to worry about. So that's definitely something to consider.
Like it's something that like you should definitely look into before you actually pursue the career, and look into it to say like, do I want to do this enough where like I'm willing to go into the debt. And like some of these programs are like insanely expensive, and then like your salary's just not up to par with the amount of debt you go into. I will say like for our tuition was like, it's one of the cheapest schools in the nation. Not to say like it's cheap, but like comparatively, we applied to different programs, we saw their different tuitions, and some of them are a lot, and nothing was really going to turn us away from it, because like Ciera said, we had money that we were like, okay, this is going towards our tuition, we're going to be okay. But like I can't imagine being like in some of our classmates' positions where like you have as much debt as you have just like from grad school
or from undergrad too.
It's like a not just PT specific, but it certainly is like it's talked about, and like, oh, this is an issue in physical therapy, and like your programs will probably talk about it, but like nothing's being done about it. So look into that.
Yeah, you should know
just
about
like
that.
Be responsible.
Just like career wise in general. I'm always like, you know, every time someone like asks what I do, I'm like, oh, I'm a physical therapist. And so it's like, it's a rewarding career. And like, you know how people
it's funny. And I've seen this like once recently, and then once like a while ago. Do you know what I'm gonna
I do know what you're gonna say. I think so.
I hyped myself up a little bit though. It was like a guy saying like careers that like his friend
on
tells
TikTok,
him,
right?
Yeah. If his friend like is talking like, oh, like I went out like a date with someone, like there's different occupations that like will perk your ears up a little bit to say like, oh, like that's like an attractive career. And physical therapist was on the list, so it made me feel good about myself.
Oh, nice.
So that made me laugh.
But like just genuinely like I don't necessarily say like day to day, but just like there are like those patients like every once in a while that they, like really like you connect with them and you're like, oh, like I'm really like actually helping them, making them safer. For like a lot of my skilled people, if they're going back home, like I'm getting them from, you know, point A to point B. Like that's important to them.
The amount of times I say from point A to point B in my day to day, because I like when I'm trying to explain like, especially for like a skilled eval, when I'm explaining like, what PT does, I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, I want to see how you get from point A to point B, and like I just am like, I saw that today again too when I was trying to explain how the easy stand works, getting you from point A to point B. Okay. I say it a lot.
But like I just feel like I'm doing good work. You know, it's important work.
It's honest.
It has to be done. It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Yes. How many more do we want to do?
Maybe one or two.
Okay, someone said traveling tips. I'm flying on a plane soon for the first time, and it's to Europe. So what tips do we have on our?
I guess I don't know where you're from.
We'll assume it's like a long plane ride.
Flight.
Go to the bathroom before. Just to like preemptively like give you some encouragement. I was quite nervous for like being on that long of a flight before we had been on a long flight, and I was like pleasantly surprised. Granted, we were on Swiss Air, the first international flight that we went on, and this was pre-COVID, so they may have changed things. But when we flew from Chicago to Zurich, it was a 10-hour flight, and we had like 3 meals on that plane ride, and they were actually pretty good. I don't know what they do now. It might be different. But I was like, I am being taken care of on this plane. And I mean, also the plus on those longer flights is like usually they have like the in-flight, like they're decked
There's
out.
a lot more accommodations.
They have, you know, the screens in front usually, free movies to choose from. Everyone's usually, I get a little iffy with like whether I like people reclining or not, but like on an overnight international flight, you can recline your seat back. It's fine. But what else? I would say, I don't know. I don't really get that much stuff on my phone personally anymore, like loaded up. I know some people like to, but like now that I'm a reader person, I just get some books on my Kindle or like I have Sudoku on my phone. And then if I'm lucky, my plane will have like one of those tablet things. Otherwise, like I will be okay. If you're going on a long flight, like the plane probably has
movies and stuff
on it. But you could always get movies, you know, to make sure you have what you want. They usually have pretty good selection, honestly. Like I'm usually half the time I'm spending an hour just going through being like, what do you guys have on here?
Yeah. Just exploring. I would say for whatever reason, I hate going to the bathroom on an airplane. Like I will avoid it at almost all costs. And so I would say go to the bathroom before you go on the plane.
If you're someone that like is sensitive to like changes in pressure, chewing gum could be good, especially if you're not like a freak. Well, this is the first time on the plane. So like if
have
you're
something
doing
in case
for takeoff and landing, takeoff especially, like maybe chew on some gum or something, because then if your ears like are popping
and like while you're chewing,
helps.
make sure you're like swallowing, because that's like the thing that
I used to like be super like, oh, I need gum on a plane, and now I like never do.
Yeah,
but
like when it's your first time flying, like
you just want to have like all your basics covered.
Something. Dress
wise, wear a t-shirt or something sleeveless and then a zip up over top. I think that's easiest. If you're going somewhere where you're gonna need a coat anyways, a packable puffer is really good, and then you can use that as a pillow.
Please wear socks in the airport. I get really grossed out because you have to take your shoes off unless you have like clear or something, and like people be walking around barefoot in the airport when they're like taking their shoes off. That's disgusting. So
some people get really creative with their little airplane hacks or seat hacks for comfort. But like you'll probably be fine. I will say I tried there's like a little hack on TikTok where like if you want to like buckle your feet in the seatbelt of like, so you're sitting like this with both knees up, and like it was comfortable for a little bit, like because there's like you get sometimes tired of being sitting upright the entire time, so like that helps. And then you're not like with the seatbelt holding your ankles, you're not like just holding yourself up on the seat,
giving yourself like the best
a little bit
workout you've ever had.
Some people recommend buying like this little like foot sling.
I've seen that,
but I've never gone and like bought anything.
Don't
like
go crazy,
you know.
Just yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add. Don't put, if you have like a carry-on, I don't know what you purchased for your luggage stuff. If this goes for everyone, if you have a carry-on and you're just like carrying your little purse and you put that in the overhead thing.
I know that if you're designated a carry-on and you just have a personal item, that you can technically, you can put it up there. But why would you? Don't do that.
Put it under your seat. If nothing is under your seat, put it under there. I know there's going to be people saying, well, I want some leg room. It will fit. Your legs can go around it. Like, if it's just a small little purse, oh my God, I've seen so many.
It looks ridiculous you putting it up there.
Or like, just if it's so small that I see it and I pass by, I'm just like, put that under your seat. You're taking up valuable space.
And it's the first thing, if the airline people were already saying, it's going to be a tight flight, you guys. Like,
no, and also,
put the personal items under your seat.
The second that the seatbelt sign comes off, they're standing up, they're getting it out of the overhead thing. Why was it in there? They're like, I need my stuff in my purse. Yeah, because it's your personal item and you want it close by. So maybe put it under your seat for easy access. Anyway, I digress. I think that's going to do it for today's episode.
I think so too.
And we've ended on a rant. I had so much fun talking to you guys. I had so much fun talking to you, Megan.
Me too.
If you guys haven't followed us on Instagram, like we shouted out at the beginning, feel free to do so. We also have a video version on YouTube. If you just search according to podcast, you can probably find it that way.
And we will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.